and welcome to this Warhammer 40k battle report with me, Mark, from the Xenoviz channel. So today's battle report is going to be my newly constructed Grey Knights list that we saw in the previous battle against Tyranids and how they absolutely crushed them, spoilers there, versus my Dark Eldar. Now this is the Dark Eldar list used in our Battle League. I've tried to make it competitive, but it seems that the Dark Eldar just don't seem to be cutting it really in the Battle League. However, to beat an elite army with really good armour and an Imperial Knight, Lances may help and Flyers may help, which this Dark Eldar list has an abundance of. So it's probably might be a Dark Eldar victory. Who knows? Let's take a look at the battlefield, how the terrain's set up, the mission, how the armies are set up, and it's again going to be in the new style of a commentary narration kind of thing. And please, 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 in the comment section below, let me know how you feel about this new setup. So, looking straight at the mission today, the mission will be the Scouring, which is an interesting one. It has 6 objective markers, ranging from 3 points, 4 points, 2 points, 1 point, and also fast attack can score them, and if you do destroy fast attack, you get extra points. The deployment will be Dawn of War. So it's the same world as what the Grey Knights fought the Tyranids, and the Dark Eldar are here to capture the Grey Knights to make them prisoners. So we have on the board, starting, a raider with 5 incubi, a squad of normal troops in a Venom, 3 Talos with haywire weapons, 10 Hellions, another squad with a Venom, and off the board is a hell of a lot of Dark Eldar trying to be more tactical, coming from reserve, and you'll see them from turn 2. Grey Knights, same as last time, Razorback with 5 Grey Knights in them, a Dread Knight, and an Imperial Knight Vanquisher ally. These guys are staying on the board. Coming in from reserve is Drago and a unit of Paladins with an Apothecary, and a Mastery Level 3 Librarian with some Terminators with Demon Hammers. There's a lovely Imperial Knight. I recommend, as an ally, definitely getting one. And they've helped the Grey Knights a lot. I've done it in the colour scheme of the Grey Knights. So that's it on the board. So, is it night fighting? Nope. Can the Grey Knights steal the initiative? No, they cannot. So, going into turn 1 for the Dark Eldar, the Talos are advancing forward. The Incubi in their radar advance cautiously forward as well, revealing a number 2. Just there. The Hellions advance forward, trying to get a better angle for the Dread Knights. Now they have poison shots, which are excellent against monstrous creatures, and if these can take down a Dread Knight, they can drag it back to their prisons and their torture chambers and have lots and lots of fun. Or put it in the pits. Whilst this is happening, revealing the number 1 point. The Raider now turbo boosts next to the lamppost. The Talos eye up their target. They want to take down that Razorback to find the juicy Grey Knights inside. So shooting through the trees, and a wall is in the way. Firing their haywire shots. They do have twin link. The first volley misses. The second volley, a couple do hit. Can they do anything with their haywire? A glance and a penetrating hit there. Penetrating hit only is a 2, which is crew shaken. The Hellions now lock their weapons on target to try and get the Dread Knight. However, a huge miscalculation on the range of their weapons, and only a couple of them are in range. Can they do some damage to the Dread Knight? A couple of wounds there. And the Dread Knight fails an armor save. One of the Dark Eldar bullets go through a chink in the armor and wound the Dread Knight. The Razorback actually had a cover save, and going back to it, one of the hull weights do go up, but it is still crew shaken. So looking at the table, not a lot has been achieved. Going now into Grey Knight's turn 1. The wounded Dread Knight advances forward, not afraid of these puny Dark Eldar slavers. And as he goes over, he's revealed the number 4, which is in the Grey Knight's area. So this is a potential high number for the Grey Knights. So the Dread Knight now, hoping to cast Psychic Power, hoping to cast Sanctuary to improve its invulnerable, but no! For some reason, the Psychic ability was unable to harness anything. Force, however, was pretty successfully there. And the Dark Eldar are unable to deny it. So Force is deadly. It was able to take down a few kind effects. It's great for taking down monstrous creatures. First though, firing the heavy side cannon. And getting a direct hit. And only wounding 1. And the Talos is able to make it save. Okay, now using the Force Gatling gun onto it, the silencer. So needing 3s to hit, firing with many bullets. And now needing 5s to wound. Nope, needing 6s to wound. Only 1 goes through. But if the save is failed, which it is, and if the Feel No Pain is unable to be made, which it isn't, 1 of the Talos go outright destroyed, forced away into probably the warp, is what I like to think. It's just teleported into the warp. Now the Razorback is firing its las cannon. It is twin linked. It is snap firing from what happened last time, and unable to hit it. Now the Imperial Knight firing to the Hellions. Of course, firing its battle cannon first. This is 2 shots designed to take down infantry. The Imperial Knight pilot looking on the Hellions in disgust. However, a slightly windy day takes it a slight scattering. The second one is also slightly scattered, but is able to get a good number of them as well. So needing 2s to wound. Pop, 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 pop. And 9 out of the 10 are obliterated from the face of the planet, leaving just 1 lone Hellion. Now snap firing the Skyfire weapon on top, because if you fire at a ground target you have to snap fire, and it is twin linked. Hopefully, nope, is unable to take it down. So now firing its Gatling gun at the Talos, hoping to wound them, needing 3s. And now this is needing 5 as it's strength 5, and the toughness of a Talos is 7. High toughness models. That's 3 of them. And it is AP free, so this will just be Feel No Pains, and 2 are made! So a wound has been taken on that Talos. The last Hellion is unafraid of what's just happened and able to advance forward. Now, with it being Dark Eldar turn 2, a few of the Archon units have arrived. He has told them to come forth. First the Jet Fighter and the Ravager. Also the Trueborn have arrived in their Venom, giving some much needed firepower. It's important for a Dark Eldar player to choose whether you want to come in from reserve, as on turn 1, if the initiative is seized, like Ian does to me all the time, or you're just unlucky, your opponent can shoot you down. So the Imperial Knight now is activating its Interceptor rule, So able to shoot when something comes in reserve. And shooting at the plane. Hitting twice. This is strength 7. The armour is 10, so needing 3 to glance. 1 penetrating hit. And rolling a 1. So causing a hull point to this fighter. And on the vehicle damage table, that is crew shaken. So I do believe it is snap shooting. I don't know if flyers ignore that, so we played it as that. Now the Ravager, lance weapons at the Imperial Knight. However, the Imperial Knight is a super heavy walker, which means lance weapons do not change its armour value. And with only 1 hitting, the rest deflecting off of it, and not doing anything, the Ravager, as usual, does nothing. The fighter then aims its lance weapon at the Imperial Knight as well. Hitting twice. Oh, missing twice because it was snap shooting. It was meant to roll 6s, sorry. Turbo boosting there to get an advance forward. The Talos are looking to take down this Razorback now. They're not happy with it still being alive. 2 hits. And on the Haywire, 2 glances. There is a cover save to be made of a 4-up. And one of them is made. So another glance on this Razorback, bringing it down to 1. The Incubi's Raider now, firing its lance weapon at the Razorback. Misses. The Lone Hellion sees the Dread Knight and wants to take revenge on what's just happened. Unfortunately misses completely. It must be absolutely petrified. After being radioed in, Drago and the Librarian decide to teleport in from their spaceship above. So the Librarian does scatter slightly. Comes on the corner of the board. Drago, with his mastery and amazingness, is able to go directly where he wants to. And with that, there's a few Grey Knight, every Grey Knight model is on the table now. So the Dread Knight advances forward to the Talos. And going into the psychic phase again, the Dread Knight tries to manifest a force and is successful again. Trying to deny the witch, unable to. And trying to do Sanctuary, and again is able to get that off. The Librarian now, trying to do Molten Beam. It's a beam melter essentially, and is able to do it. So having to roll to hit, it hits. Having to roll to penetrate the armor. But there is a glance. A Jinx save made there, sorry. Now trying to cast Prescience, and in every game I do believe I've pretty much failed 99% of the time. And failed there with Spontaneous Combustion. So, seeing through the gap, shooting at the Venom. I have found that giving the Librarian Pyromancy does give some good offensive ability in the Psychic phase. More shots and things like that is great and helps out the Grey Knights because it is such an elite army. Drago's unit now firing at the Venom that is in the building. A good number of hits and unfortunately no 6s to glance. Dread Knight now shooting at the Talos, hoping to wound a little bit more so that it can go into close combat. And again, being such a windy day, it actually scatters back onto the Dread Knight, embarrassingly for it. Luckily, Drago was looking the other way. So the wound on the Talos now, it does wound, and it is a rending. So, feel no pain? Feel no pain isn't made. So, it has lost a wound. And now the wound on the Grey Knight, Dread Knight. It does wound, but it makes it safe. So now trying to do its silencer weapon, the Gatling weapon on it. Needing 6s to wound, and then this will be force. And 1 does go through. Can he make his armor save? If he doesn't, and then it goes down. Nope, made the armor save this time. The Talos' carapace saved it. The Razorback now, lining up a shot at this Raider. Firing at full ballistic skill now, is able to hit. And then needing just a 1 to glance it and gets a penetrating hit. The Jinx save though is made. Now it's time for the Imperial Knight. Firing at the Ravager. It's going to be firing its battle cannon, which is an ordnance weapon. It does scatter completely off it, but the battle cannon is 2 shots. Again, it is an extremely windy day for large blast, but it does clip the side of it. And now rolling 2 dice, because with ordnance weapons you roll 2 dice and take the highest against vehicles. This is a penetrating hit, and with the Jinx save, the save is not made. Being only AP free, it rolls a 4. Crew stunned. Although it was open topped, it should have been weapon destroyed. Firing the Gatling now at the Raider, which has previously jinked. 12 shots, needing 3s. And now needing 4s to glance, and not surprisingly, getting 4 pens and 1 glance. Rolling the Jinx saves, and not surprisingly with my rolls, I rolled terribly. Rolling the penetrating hits, a 6 will explode it because it is open topped. Nope, just wrecked. But the Incubi are not pinned. Dread Knight now wanting to go into close combat. The Talos will fire their Overwatch. One of them hits, however, needing a 6 does not wound. So the Grey Knight, Dread Knight, goes in and begins its Hammer of Wrath. It does wound. A normal armor save is also made. So now rolling 4 attacks, hitting twice with its giant sword. The Dread Knight now wounds twice. 1 for no pain is made. Only 1 wound is lost from this round of combat. However, the Talos have a good number of attacks back, needing 4s and only missing once. Now needing 3s to wound. This isn't looking good for the Dread Knight now. It does have Sanctuary on, which has improved its invulnerable save, and this has helped him survive. Only losing 1 wound. And now with it being turn 3, the Mandrakes have arrived. They've outflanked and arrived on this side of the field. The fighter plane turns and eyes up Drago. The Ravager has moved slightly to the left, shimmied. The Hellion also moves towards the Dread Knight, hoping to support the Talos. The Incubi see their target of Drago. And now this is the board, what it looks like. And the Mandrakes now eyeing up their target, one waving to the camera, eyeing up their target of the Terminators and Librarian. Getting a good amount of wounds. Terminators have a 2-up armor save. Are they able to protect themselves from the Mandrake's fire? 2 go down. Front 2 have been disintegrated. So now the Trueborn Venom eyeing up the Terminators. Only 1 hit. 1 wound. a save. And the occupants on side firing. Able to do 1 wound. But again, just being able to save it. The troops' venom will fire back onto Drago's squad. Not many hits that time. A typical mark roll. And no wounds, a very typical mark roll. The occupants, though, all hit. Needing 4s, only 1. You'll see a common trait with my rolls. However, with the Grey Knight rolling, I seem to do well. The little green dice don't like me. So now the flyer firing on them. Having to snap fire again, I'm not sure about this, but I'll be playing it anyway. Is able to wound, is able to do a wound, and surpass the armor save and the feel no pain. And as it is double the strength, double the toughness of the paladin, it automatically goes down. Ravager now trying to show everyone how to fire lance weapons, and able to do it twice, but because it jinked, needed 6s, so failed. The Incubi now trying to take down Drago in close combat, so they will fire their Overwatch. Drago is not afraid of these Incubi. Having a few wounds there, the Incubi do have a free up save, an extremely good save, and then is made. So now the Incubi fail, they stumble over themselves as the shots were fired at them. Now into this close combat, the Dread Knight with his giant sword. The Dread Knight will go first, hits twice, but wounds only once. And Talos doesn't make its feel no pain. So another wound done. The Talos are almost completely wiped out. Talos fighting back for their lives. Being spurred on the anguish of this Dread Knight. Wounding 3 times. Can the Dread Knight protect himself and save himself again? No. For the first time in this 2,000 point Grey Knight list, the Dread Knight has been defeated. The Grey Knights now turn free. The Grey Knights coming out of the Razorback. The Terminator is moving towards the Mandrakes. Drago's unit are not afraid by the Incubi, and he orders them to advance towards them. Drago now eyes up the Incubi. Tries to cast Purge Soul. However, something causes him a lapse in concentration. He's unable to cast it. The Librarian now tries to do the Molten Beam. And just like Drago, his concentration just lapsed. And is unable to cast this psychic power. And I'm unable to pick up the card. Prescience now fails. Terminator now eyeing up the Mandrakes, trying to cast Spontaneous Combustion, and fails. So a failure in the psychic phase all around. Now trying to get a point for killing a fast attack unit, firing their Stormbolters. Good amount of wounds. And the Hellion fails. The Razorback now firing its twin-link las cannon at the Talos. He's able to hit. Is he able to penetrate the carapace armor? It is. And no feel no pain was made, so the Talos on the last wound is taken down. Here we go, Drago's unit now, ready to fire their Stormbolters at the Incubi, ready to weaken them. The puny Incubi who have challenged the honour of Drago. They have been wounded many times from their Stormbolters, accurate shots from the Paladins and Drago, and a lot of failed saves. And now for the Feel No Pains. Can they protect themselves? No. One incubi is left standing. Terminators now all in a line, ready to take some shots at the mandrakes. A good amount of hits. Can they save themselves? Although they have good shrouded ability, they are unable to save themselves fully at all. So out of the unit of 10, the nearest 3 to the Terminators go down. Now it's time for the Imperial Knight, this huge artillery piece, essentially, firing at its Skyfire weapon. So a glance. So it glances. Now firing the Gatling weapon onto the towers, hopefully taking it down as its haywire weapon is getting ever closer. However, it fails to wound it, just bouncing off the carapace armour. Oh, wounding it once, but the Feel No Pain is made. Now firing its ordnance weapon on this Ravager again. Even though there's a slight scattering again and again, it is able to hit the Ravager. Jinking. Can the Ravager maneuver around the shots? It can. So now Drago and his unit charge the Incubi. And the Terminators charging the Mandrakes. The Mandrakes will get to Overwatch though. The Terminators make their assault into the Mandrakes. They were wanting to smash them down. Drago takes up his sword, swings at the Incubi. The Incubi dodges 4 of the attacks, but a fatal blow has been struck. As the Incubi goes down, it swings its giant sword, hoping to take down one of the Paladins, but it misses. And he is killed. So now they consolidate towards the objective, revealing this objective to be a number 2. The Terminator attacks first, only hitting once. Able to wound and kill a Mandrake. Now the Mandrakes will get to go first, trying to take down these Terminators. They hack at the Terminator armour. They try to find a weak spot, trying to find flesh. Unable to, the Grey Knight Terminators push them aside and smash their hammers down onto the heads of the Mandrakes, causing 6 wounds, and with there only being 6 left, all of the Mandrakes have been squashed under the hammers. Now Dark Eldar turn 4, everything is now coming onto the board. The last flyer, the Scourges, their haywire and blasters. Everything now trying to advance forward, trying to get a better position to take down these Grey Knights. And this is what the board looks like. And the Archon comes on just in the nick of time. Into the shooting phase, the fighter now fires its missiles and its just fires its lances. First, able to wound.
Paladin fails its save. The Paladin fails its feel no pain, and again. That Paladin should have been killed. Another mistake on my part. So now firing the missiles onto the squad. 4 monofilament missiles. Slight scattering. A lot of scattering happening in this battle. Extremely windy planet. A lot of wounds have been made. And a few saves have been failed. And a few feel no pains have been failed. And a paladin goes down. Now the bomber firing at the librarian squad. 1 hit. And it fails to wound. The Dark Eldar are needing some pinpoint accuracy with their weapons, and they are just not achieving it. One Terminator does go down though from the venom. Scourges now with their weapons designed to take down vehicles. They're usually quite effective. Half of them have missed. And the last 2 don't even penetrate the armour. So the Ravager gives it a go. Aiming to take down some hull points. Hitting twice. And doing nothing. Now, the Grey Knights turn to counter-attack. Everything on the Dark Eldar side is on, so the Grey Knights are hoping to cause a lot of damage. So the Terminator eyeing up this venom. Again, trying to fire the molten beam at it. This time it is successfully cast. It hits. A jinx save is not made. And causing a penetrating hit and giving an exploded result. It is able to wound a good number of them. This psychic phase is a lot more successful than the previous one. Grey Knights are an army of psychers, which means they will generally dominate most fields and games. So they're able to, most of the time, be successful in casting their psychic powers. Now, is able to spontaneously combust one of the Dark Eldar warriors, which now means a small blast goes over them, and is able to combust a couple more. 1 more. These Grey Knights are hoping to take down the Scourges with their Stormbolter shots. Does the Emperor show them accuracy? Slightly. But these Scourges have better armor save than most. And a feel no pain that generally works out. But 1 does go down. The Razorback now, trying to take down this Talos, this pesky Talos. He hits, and is unable to wound. The Paladin unit now, looking to shoot at the Flyer, possibly able to take down this last hull point. They do need 6s. Getting 2 6s, they need 6s again, and they fail. So the Imperial Knight decides to give it a go too. Hits twice. Is able to do glance at a pen, and is unable to jink the saves, and he crashes and burns, but doesn't hit the Paladin squad. That is another fast attack point to the Grey Knights. Terminator now orders his men to fire at the Flyer. Being able to have cast Prescience, they can reroll the hits, so now's best chance than any. However, it's unsuccessful, and with only one hit, and unable to shoot it down, it was going too fast for it. So now the Imperial Knight aims to take down the Scourgers where the normal Grey Knights could not. And is able to take down 4, and there's only 4 left in that squad. With this being Dark Eldar's turn 5, the Archon radios across to everyone to do the final master plan, trying to gain all of the objectives. The Venom shoots off without its warriors, and they stay to claim the objective. The Archon moves forward to shepherd it across. This Venom copies the one on the left flank. Staying in the building, they claim the objective, whilst this Venom advances forward. The Bomber flies over the Terminators with the Librarian and fires its bomb. One use only, strength 9, only one shot. Is able to get a successful hit, wound all 3, and they fail their invulnerable saves. And he instantly kills every single one of them. A huge blow to the Grey Knights. Talos, firing its Haywire weapon at the Imperial Knight, is finally got in range. Hits. And causes a Haywire glancing shot. And the Imperial Knight is unable to save it with its force field and loses its first hull point in its existence. Turbo boosting a couple of the Venoms into a better position to claim the objective markers. They now have the number 3. This one turbo boosts up on the building as well, and again gets the number 3. The Archon fires at the Razorback with his blaster weapon. He hits. He's able to crack the hull point. No cover save is made, and rolls extremely highly and explodes the vehicle. The vehicle is exploded and it takes down everything within 1 inch. It's a strength 4 hit. It does wound, but the Grey Knight's armour saves it. The Ravager now firing at the Imperial Knight with its lance weapons. 2 hits. 1 glance, and again the force field does not protect the Imperial Knight. It goes down to 4 hull points. Drago senses the end is near and orders his Grey Knights to advance towards the Talos and give their all. So they fire their storm bolters at it, and unable to wound. So the Imperial Knight fires its Skyfire shot at the Talos, hoping to take down this wound, but it's unable to. So firing the Gatling launcher super duper duper weapon at it, hitting a good number of times, and failing to wound a single time. So firing the battle cannon at it as well. Desperate times called for desperate measures. It scatters off completely, being the windy day that it is. But 1 direct hit, rolling a 2, as it is strength 8 and its toughness 7. It needed a 3, so the Imperial Knight failed this turn. The Paladins fire at the Venom up on the tower, holding the objective. They are able to do 2 glancing hits. Made 1 of the Jinx saves, and the glancing hit is a 2, plus 1 is a 3, so it is crew shaken. And a hull point is taken off of it. It is taken off of it. Even if I drop the dice, a hull point is taken off. So now, going into the assault phase, these Grey Knights are wanting to take down it. An Overwatch is being made, but is unable to do anything. The Grey Knights go into close combat with the Talos, swinging their power swords at everything they can, trying to hack the limbs off of it. Able to wound it twice. and it fails at Feel No Pain. It does go down, but as it goes down, it swings at the Grey Knights, trying to take a couple with them, and is able to take 2 of them down with it. But they have secured the objective now, and they didn't fail their leadership test. The game does continue, though, into turn 6. The Dark Eldar now have one more turn to try and take down as many Grey Knights as they can, trying to get them off the objectives, trying to just dominate the field. So now the Flyer is shooting at the Imperial Knight, getting 2 shots and getting a penetrating hit. The Flyer, the shield is unable to do anything, but it isn't an explode result, so it is just a hull point. The Venom now with the Archon firing at the Grey Knights in front of it, getting a good number of wounds and taking down two of the Grey Knights, leaving 1 left. So the Archon and his unit fire at them, having to snap shoot because it moved. 1 wound, and it does wound the last Grey Knight there, taking them off the objective. So the Ravager now fires and misses completely, as is usually the case. The Venom now firing at the Paladins, hoping to just take some down. The Dark Eldar are feeling it. They can feel victory coming closer and closer. Paladins, though, are a tough cookie to crack, especially with Feel No Pain like that. This Venom now firing at the Paladins as well, being unsuccessful. The 2 Truebull now firing at them. 1 hits and does not wound. This being the Grey Knight's potential last turn again. They try and do as much as they can. Drago leaves the unit and goes towards the objective. The Imperial Knight advances forward towards the Archon's unit. The Paladins now firing at the Venom on top of the building with the objective. It only has 1 hull point, so there is a good chance that they're able to take it down. Getting a good number of hits. Getting glances. And it fails its Shink save. And so it goes down. The Imperial Knight now firing its weapons at the Archon's Venom. And the Venom's Shink save 1 is made. But it is true stunned. And a hull point. It fires its other weapon. This is the Skyfire weapon, so needing 6s on a ground unit. It is strength 7, so it is able to penetrate it. And the Jinx save is not made. And it is just wrecked. So the unit comes out onto the objective, which now means, with a run move from Drago claiming that objective, the Imperial Knight can assault the unit that has just come out. The Overwatch from the Archon fails, and the Imperial Knight is in. So now the Imperial Knight is hitting and stomping and kills outright one of the bodyguard, and now does its stomp attack. It's a D3 under the blast. Just 1 D3 and gets a 6. They're all dead.
And with that epicness, the game is now over. It is the end of turn 6. It went all the way to turn 6, and it is a Grey Knight's victory there. The roll finished it off. Basically, Grey Knights have 13 points, and the Dark Eldar have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 to 13. The Grey Knights were able to just pit them at the end. No, 14 for the Grey Knights, sorry, because they killed the Warlord. So, Grey Knights again, victorious. This battle was quite close. As you see the Grey Knights bombarding the Dark Eldar with what they could shooting-wise. Both armies failed to roll well because it's me rolling. So it made it quite a challenge, and at one point it looked like the Dark Eldar had most of the markers, and if the game had ended, it'd have been a lot closer. And this time round, Imperial Knight has lost 3 of its hull points, which is scary to think about, but it took 6 turns to do that with the Dark Eldar. A closer game than it was against the Tyranids, loads of fun to play, and the Dark Eldar are quite cool. I think with the Imperial Knight, the Grey Knight, they've got a buff. I was going to originally do a 2,000 point list with a Storm Raven, and then possibly another Dread Knight, and then see what points I had left over. However, with the Imperial Knight, they get the anti-air from the Icarus cannon. They've got the battle cannon, which is amazing, and then they've got the Gatling gun as well, which can all be fired at different targets, which is really, really good. So again, another Grey Knights victory. Thank you very much for watching. Please comment, share, like and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next video.